The street clearly they have given their verdict. They believe that Saxoft will gain. But we wanted to know from you, how much of your revenues have already been hedged, and at what rate have you hedged some of these revenues?
Hi, Nigel. I think, the rupee depreciating is definitely interesting for all exporters and especially for IT companies like us.
Okay.
Frankly speaking, our hedging policy has been quite consistent over a period of time. We hedge 50% of our revenues, overseas revenues, and we keep 50% of it open, and we have been consistent with it.
So on 50%, then you'll be gaining, right? The unhedged portion. And the 50% that you've hedged, what rate have you hedged it at?
So that would be between 68 to 69, because that's on a 12-month hedge basis we do.
Okay.
And the balance 50 is, as anyone's guess is, today it's converting at 72. Tomorrow we don't know at what rate it could be.
Okay. So net, what impact should we expect on the company's margins? As of the last quarter, your margins were hovering around 14%. Given the benefit on account of rupee depreciation, where do you see your margins by the end of this year?
Well, we don't know how long this depreciation is going to continue, but, if we expect that the rupee is going to depreciate at the rate at which it is happening today, I would believe that anything between 75 to 100 basis points is anyone's guess, which could have a positive impact on our profitability. And if it depreciates further, it could only be better.
So at 72, it's 100 basis points.
That's right.
Okay, all right. So there are benefits that are flowing in there, but what are the conversations with vendors like? Ain't they asking you, why don't you pass some on to us? Have those conversations started?
Fortunately not yet, because, we've been consistent with our vendors. The customers have been quite consistent with us too. So we've not had a situation yet, but I'm sure if such conversations happen and someone is looking at what we're speaking now, they could definitely come up with.
Okay, so let's assume the rupee stays at 72, which means your margin should improve from the current 14% to close to 15%, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Over and above that, can you extract higher margins because of efficiencies, automation, artificial intelligence?
Well, if you notice, between last year and the current quarter, which we did, between June 2017 to June 2018 itself, we did have some improvement in efficiencies. So, and one of the things which I had mentioned in the past is we are moving our focus and trying to build in more and more offshore revenues as compared to on-site. So the more we focus on offshore revenues, the improvement in profitability is bound to happen.
So by the end of this FY19, what is your target in terms of how much of your revenues should come from offshore?
A 50-50 mix. So I'm hoping that we should be able to take our offshore revenues to closer to 55% and on-site to 45%. So that 5% increase in offshore revenues should definitely help us in improving our profitability.
Okay, all right. Niraj, final question from my end there. Last year you did around 285 crores. This year, the first quarter itself, you delivered more than a 25% growth. So we're working with margins in the range of around 14 to around 15%. Top line, can we see a 20% growth? Is that on the cards?
Well, I mentioned earlier to Nigel, we don't give guidance, but the only statement which I can make is quarter one, we had seen almost a 25% growth. And we strongly believe that we can continue to see that growth for the current full year too.